how to make your own solos using the major and the minor scale. And this is for both electric guitar and acoustic guitar. And the reason that I point out that this lesson is for both electric and acoustic guitars is the fact that many people seem to think that guitar soloing is the domain of just the electric guitar, but this just isn't true. A lot of really beautiful solos are written and played on acoustic guitars. If you're a subscriber or you've been following my channel, you'll know that recently I've done videos on how to play the major scale and how to play the minor scale, and then how to speed them up and play them more accurately. Now, a brief section I did in one of those videos where I demonstrated how a major scale and a minor scale could be played over the same backing track because they're in the same key, generated a lot of interest. So I thought I'd expand on that to give you a really interesting practical application to learning the scales. And in case you didn't see that section or you don't remember it, here it is again. To get the most out of this lesson, you really need to have some background knowledge. And that background knowledge is how to play the major scale, how to play the minor scale, and at least a basic understanding of key signatures. And because of this, this video is actually part of a playlist. So if you don't have that background information, if you look down below in the description, you'll find the playlist there, and it's well worth going through. Right, before we move on to the practical fun stuff, let's get the theory out of the way, and I'll explain why or how a major scale and a minor scale can be used together in the same tune, and what minor scale works with what major scale. Understanding majors and their relative minors. Right. Before we get started, I just need to remind you that the major scale can also be called the Ionian scale, and the minor scale can also be called the Aeolian scale. And this is important because they're the modal names for the scales. So I'll just briefly explain what a mode is. And to do this, I'm going to use a keyboard. Now, the reason I'm going to use a keyboard, even though most of you probably don't play one, is because there's something really revealing on a keyboard that makes theory easy to understand. And this is that all the sharps and flats are the black notes, and all the natural notes are the white ones. Now, the key signature of C major has no sharps or flats, or in other words, it uses no black notes. So if you were to play a black note in the key of C, it would be a mistake. Or you can actually do it and call it an accidental. Right, now that you know that any tune or scale you play that doesn't have any black notes in it is in the key of C major, you'll know that if I was to start a scale on the D and end it on D and play no black notes, it wouldn't be a D major or a D minor. It would be a new scale that is a D scale, but it's in the key of C. And this is how the modes work. So I could continue through the C major scale, creating new scales. So C scale, D scale, E scale, F scale, G scale, A scale, B scale, and back to C. And these are the modes. Each one is unique and individual, but they're all in the key of C still. So the modes is a complete set of scales that is all in one key, in this instance C. But every single key signature has its own set of modes. So if we stick with the key signature of C major, as this is the example we've been using, and we start a scale on A and end it on A without playing any sharps and flats, this is the scale we called the natural minor scale, but it's also called the Aeolian scale if we call it by its modal name. So the A natural minor scale is in the key of C major, and this is why it's called a relative minor, because it's obviously related to the C major scale. Now I can prove that the A natural minor doesn't have any sharps and flats by playing the 1 octave version on the guitar at the same time as showing it being played on the keyboard. And you can see clearly that no black notes are being played, but they match note for note. Whilst I've used C major as an example because it's got no sharps and flats, so it's easy to see what's going on, the same rules we've applied to this apply to all other key signatures. So every major has a relative minor. And you don't have to memorize this list because you can find them quite easily on your guitar, especially if you're using barred scales. So all you have to do to find the relative minor scale of any major is from the start note of the major scale or the root note, drop down 3 frets, and that's the start note of the minor scale. Or conversely, if you know the minor scale, you simply go up 3 frets from the root note or the start note of the minor scale, and that's the start note of the major scale. Okay, here's a couple of demonstrations. Firstly, let's look at the D major scale. And the relative minor of the D major will be down 3 frets. And the D is on the 10th fret, so the relative minor will be on the 7th fret, which is a B minor. Right, another example. If you were playing the A major, which is on the 5th fret, the relative minor would be down 3 frets, meaning it would be on the 2nd fret, making it an F sharp minor. This time we'll reverse the process and go from a minor scale. So I'll choose the C sharp minor, which is on the 9th fret. And to find the major scale, we go up 3 frets from here, which is the 12th fret, which makes the major scale E major. And this tells us that C sharp is the relative minor of E major. Okay, hopefully you understand that. And if you don't worry, you can always rewatch the video, and I'm sure I'll do similar videos in the future that explain it in a different way. So let's get on to the fun stuff now and learn how we can use our major and minor scale to make a really cool solo. How to make your own solos using the Ionian and the Aeolian scales, which are the major scale, and the natural minor scale. Right, to get started, firstly let's just look at the 3 easy steps that need to be covered in order to start writing your own solos. And for this particular tutorial, you obviously need to have learnt the major scale and the natural minor scale, which are the Ionian and the Aeolian scales. Step 2 is to memorise the scales as much as you can and to speed them up and play them as cleanly as possible. And we're going to cover step 3 now, which will be to play the scales out of order over a backing track so you can hear if you play any wrong notes. Now, if you're not confident with the first 2 steps, then I'll put the link down below to a playlist with all the steps to learning how to write your own solos, and you can go through those steps again. Right, to get started then, we'll revise the major scale and the natural minor scale. So we'll just play through those, but this time we're going to play through them a little bit faster at 130 beats per minute. Right then, the C Ionian or C major scale. Let's see and hear that again. Here's the A Aeolian or A natural minor scale at 130 beats per minute. Let's do that again. Right, let's learn to improvise with these 2 scales. We'll start by using the Ionian scale, which is the C major scale, and just playing up and down the scales twice with a backing. And hopefully you'll be able to hear just how well they'll fit in with the backing, even though we're just playing the scales up and down. You can either just listen along to this so you can hear how the scale fits in, or you can try playing along with it yourself. Right, let's play that exact same backing again, but this time I'll play up and down the A Aeolian or the A natural minor scale. If you want to play along with it, please do so, otherwise just listen to the way the scale fits in nicely with the backing. You should have noticed then that the C Ionian scale and the A Aeolian scale both fit pretty perfectly around that backing. And this is because the backing was in the key of C, meaning it's based on the C major scale. And the Ionian scale, being a mode of the C scale, fits perfectly as well. So, to boil down improvisation with these two scales to its very simplest form, we literally just play both of these scales out of order with the backing track. Obviously, some things don't work, but most of what you'll do will work. So I'll just demonstrate that, firstly with the major scale, and then with the minor scale, where I'll be just taking the order of the scales and mixing it about. And after that, I'll just give you some hints as to what sounds better. The major scale out of order. Now the minor scale. If you play notes that aren't within the scale, it can sound pretty shocking. But you don't have to use the entire scale. It's okay to repeat small sections of the scale, or even just repeat notes. There's a happy balance that has to be struck, because whilst it's bad to just play up and down the scales, it sounds even worse if you jump about the neck too much, because you get big gaps in the music that sounds ugly. It's not a good idea to follow the backing exactly as if you're following a metronome, like this. It's better to play little fast bits and even slow bits where you hold the note for a long time. Don't feel like you have to jump between the scales, you know, but it can sound nice to do so. Just enjoy your improvisation and enjoy creating your own music. You'll notice that with my demonstrations, I've not incorporated any techniques, such as slides, hammer-ons, pull-offs, bends, etc. And this is just to make it clearer so you can see what's going on. Also, it helps people who haven't learned the techniques yet. I will be covering the techniques in a later lesson. However, if you do know some techniques, incorporate them into your playing, and I'm sure you'll find it more interesting. Now, at this stage, when we're just playing over a backing track, this is called improvisation, and it's an important thing to learn. However, it's really useful to have a sheet of blank tablature handy. And then, if you play something particularly good, you can write it down on the tab, and then you can repeat it, or even start writing your first song. And if you don't have any blank tablature, go to www.ebooks4guitar.com and click on the lessons and then the theory lessons. And I'll put a free PDF in there of templates so you can print out the blank tab as you need it. And obviously, to practice what you've learnt today, you're going to need some backing tracks in the key of C major. So I'll put a link down below in the description to some backing tracks that I've already written and uploaded. And I'll be uploading some more in the very near future. And they'll be in all different styles, because this is a good thing as well, to actually get used to playing the guitar differently with different styles of backing, rather than just get used to playing one way. And at the end of this video, I've included a song called Summer Nights that came about as a result of me just improvising over one of the backing tracks that I've provided down below in the description. As usual, thank you very much for watching. And if you want to be notified when I upload new videos and the new backing tracks, please like, subscribe and hit the bell icon, and then you'll be notified when they're uploaded. And a special thanks to all my subscribers, because without the numbers, I don't get the ad revenue, and the ad revenue is what finances these videos, and without that, I wouldn't be able to make the videos. So, a special thanks. So, to close, here's Summer Nights by Sad Fantasy.